just move into a different topic. That looking at you, you are amazing, beautiful lady.
Oh, thank you.
And I imagine when you go to places, like you get extra attention from other people, right? They might hit on you or like want something from you, and like you maybe not in that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you dealing with that?
Well, I really feel in that particular environment with high, and even in the natural world, is to have compassion for people and understand that their feelings are very human. And if you're not on the same page, it's important to set boundaries. And I love that high really stresses the being at choice and expressing boundaries. And the way I've dealt with it, I've learned to kindly speak up. I don't think it's really calls for being angry and defensive, but speaking up in a loving way and setting boundaries. I don't feel comfortable with this. Um, Give me some space. And so far that's worked. I mean, I haven't had any major issues that come up, but there are times where I did have to set boundaries, and that's okay. And I think it's really important to not be afraid to set boundaries.
Yeah, it's interesting you say to set boundaries. Like I'm picturing that I don't want someone to like, let's say someone sits and like hugs me, right? Like this.
And then you just
And they
then
didn't ask,
I am
right?
so happy. I'm like, oh, thank you,
You-
Luba,
yeah,
for
but-
hugging me.
But imagine you're not happy and I didn't ask you, right? And then I know this feeling that I don't like it, but I
Yes.
feel bad telling to a person because
Yes.
it's kind of, it's okay.
Yes.
Like person has the best intention just to hug
Exactly.
me, right?
Yeah.
So-
What happened to me at level 1? It was. It took place at Harbin, which burned down. Oh, Harbin.
It's
And-
coming back.
Good. I can't wait.
Me
We're gonna
too.
be there.
Yes.
So after the workshop was over, we were all in the meditation pool, and there was a group of us. We had a beautiful love circle group hug, and then there was someone who I hadn't connected with came up and hugged me from behind. Did not like that at all. And then the whispering and growling in my ear, I think he said something like, "Oh, I love the way you smell."
Ooh. And it can be juicy, but in that moment it wasn't.
It was not juicy. It wasn't juicy at all. If it would have been you, it would have been very juicy, and I would have loved it. But I didn't like the assumption that it was okay to hug me from behind. I didn't like that assumption, and I that did not sit well. So I didn't say anything. I just kind of went underwater and then shot off like a tropical fish really fast, and that worked. And then I think I saw this person at an event at your house, and I kind of avoided him like the plague.
This is amazing. Like, and that person has no idea why you are avoiding him, right? He thinks that, like he didn't do anything terrible, just hugged you.
It was horrible to me, and I was looking for an opportunity to talk to that person.
And did you talk?
I never saw him again.
Okay.
But I think what I should have done in this situation is say, oh, this is not comfortable for me. And instead I just went underwater and
Okay.
shot off like a very fast tropical fish.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine like just to say that it has nothing to do with you, but I'm not in the space of hugging from behind, right?
Yes.
And sorry, but I don't feel good.
Yes.
And you could stay there. You didn't have to run away, right?
You know what? I did stay there, but I got away from him
Okay.
because I didn't want to be hugged from behind. But it was an assumption since I am hugging other people, and we just did this amazing workshop. It was at the very end, or maybe we were on the break. We could have been on. I think it was over, and we're all just, relaxing in a meditation pool, just having this beautiful, just loving human experience. And here comes someone from the workshop joining our group. So sometimes there is an assumption that certain touch is okay, or since after all, we were in a workshop naked, and it's not always okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that was, I can honestly say my first experience where I felt a little triggered or a little uncomfortable, and that's how I handled it. And moving forward, I would like to handle situations like that more graciously by just speaking up, just saying, you
Yeah.
know, this doesn't feel comfortable, and set a boundary and just be really direct. So I need to be
Yeah.
better at that.
You're a great person, but just I don't feel interacting with you right now.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
later it can change, right?
Exactly. And I'm sure you've had that. I mean, you're beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, thank
So,
you.
yes.
And
And
I'm learning too.
yes.
Like to not to be mean or rude to people, but just to, like to set my boundaries.
Exactly. It's
Beautiful.
very important. It's very important. And I've dealt with this all my life when it comes to dealing with the opposite sex. And it happens all the time. It happens to many women where they get in a situation where their space is violated,
Mhm.
and then speaking up and setting boundaries in that moment can be difficult. So they just kind of wiggle out of it. Oh, what time is it? Or, gee, I have an appointment. Time to go. Or I have to go home and sort out my sock drawer.
From nowhere, suddenly like, oh yeah, I have an appointment.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, Ridra, I'm noticing when I say from my heart, like I set my boundaries, I say like, oh, it doesn't feel comfortable. People appreciate it.
Yes.
I feel like not many people talk like that,
Mhm.
and like often people don't know why certain like other person is so mean or avoiding them. But
Mhm.
when I just share, I don't have to avoid them. I'm
Exactly.
here, but I'm just like being myself, and people
Exactly.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not always easy to do. And sometimes I actually feel mad at myself for not having the strength in that moment to speak up right away.
Yeah.
Yes.